Hey everyone, so I am now 38 weeks and 6 days and I'm scheduled to be induced in 2 days. I took a bath last night, and when I got out of the bath there was like this bloody mucusy thing in there, so I think I lost I think that was bloody show last night. At my doctor's appointment on Thursday, she stripped my membranes and I lost some of my mucus plug. But then last night, that's when I took a bath, and like I said, when I got out of the bath, there was like this blob floating in the water, and it was like a dark red blood, so I think that was my bloody show. But I woke up with contractions, I think like every 10 minutes, and now they're like every 5 minutes. This morning was the first time it's like these contractions are stopping me in my tracks. And so, my husband checked me. I don't know how many of you guys have followed my beginning videos, but I mentioned that he's a first responder. So he has caught babies before, and it's been a while, but here's another one. I will record after this passes. Okay, so that one's done. But my husband checked me at like 4 o'clock this morning. He said it was pretty much out at 3 and changing. So we're gonna go in to labor and delivery. Hopefully we don't get sent back home again, because we're so tired of this. Okay, so we were at 6 centimeters at 8:30, and so then we were just hooked up automatically, and things have been moving pretty quickly. It's only 9:15, and it's in the middle of a snowstorm, so we'll see if I end up getting an epidural or not, but looks like he'll be here, and like with all other things related to this pregnancy, I've surrendered a lot of other things, so I don't know if I'm going to end up getting an epidural or not, but the hospital staff has had a lot of people call in sick because of the way the roads are here, so we'll see.
For you. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with that. I had a chance to look at your medical history. All I saw was anemia. Any other medical problems or diagnoses that I should be aware of?
No.
All right, so we don't have a tremendous amount of time here. As you can see, they're kind of prepping behind me. So we're going to sit you up on the edge of the bed, and I'm going to kind of walk you through this process. Yeah, I'm just going to use this kind of as my workstation.
Maybe that with me whenever she's...
You're
going to sit facing the baby bed, and he's going to come over there too.
Hey, Dad, how are you? Good, man. Good. I'm going to probably put you on that stool, Dad.
Cool. No worries.
So I also have to mention there's always potential risks with whatever we do. You're no higher risk than anybody else in the country having an epidural here this morning for labor, okay? But when we stick a needle in you, we're going to tell you there's a risk of bleeding and infection, nerve injury, back pain, headache, possibility that this could be one-sided or you could have a hot spot. All of those possibilities are extremely rare though. Any questions before I get going here? So I feel like you're kind of, I wonder if we could bring her back. So when you go in here, I'm going to put your feet here. Now at the back of your knees kind of equally touching the edge of the bed there. Really deeply.
No, she needs to scoot back a little bit.
Back just a little bit. That way.
Back.
Yeah, she's good now.
Relax your shoulders down for me. There you go. Check your spine. Feel the edges of your back. So now I'm going to walk you through this whole process, okay? No surprises. I'm going to tell you first before I do anything. And just get my gloves on.
Yeah, just come here on this side.
You don't have any allergies, correct? Medication? Okay, cold scratching on your back. We're going to do this 3 times.
Not yet. Okay, is that it?
Takes just a minute to drop our medications. I'm doing that right now, so I'm okay. We're going to get started. Nice and numb now. This is where you're going to feel that poke and a burn, kind of like a bee sting. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Poke, lots of burning. Does that hurt?
No, I just feel like the cold.
Pressure. Working our way to your epidural space now. Really feel a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
If you think I'm more to the right or to the left, let me know. Where'd you go left?
Towards the, this side, right?
The right side, her
Your
right side.
Okay.
Her right side.
Was it like a zinger?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he gone?
Almost.
Is that a contraction now?
Yeah. And now left.
Left?
Yeah.
A lot of pressure. Does that feel more center there?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of pressure. Okay, I'm right where I need to be. This is where I want you to hold real still for me. I'm going to thread this catheter. You might feel some fingers down one leg or the other, kind of like when you hit your funny bone in your elbow. Almost done here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zingers? or-
Yeah, zingers.
Needles coming out. Zingers gone?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to sit up a bit more comfortable, we're almost done. Okay? Good job. just a second here, I'm going to give you some medicine. We call this a test dose. We do this with everyone. We just want to make sure that we're not in blood vessel or spinal fluid. No indication that I am, but I still need to give this to you. If it were positive, your symptoms would be very apparent, like ringing in your ears or a metallic taste in your mouth, like your mouth is full of pennies, or suddenly your lips go numb, or your bottom goes numb. And you're not having a contraction, right?
I am.
You are? You know, this is coming down.
A zinger is in her leg.
Right leg.
Her right leg.
Right leg.
So is there in the right leg? Contraction coming down?
Yeah.
Have some medicine. Is that zinger going away, or?
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay. Smack dab in the center here, so. Okay. Sorry.
No worries. No
Sorry
worries.
about that.
It's okay.
Jennifer, do you mind holding this for just a second?
Of course.
Okay, I'm just going to get this secured to your back now. And we're going to lay you down. I'll start working medicine to get you nice and comfortable, okay? You want to get the strap back up, Jan?
Okay.
Okay.
Nice. Is it similar to a spinal tap when you check for admitting? and-
Similar to spinal tap,
Arthritis?
but we don't want to go in past there's a membrane that separates the epidural space from this cerebral spinal fluid. That's called the dura mater.
Okay.
And we want to stay just outside that. If
Okay.
we were to go past that, then we would go into the spinal fluid.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to do that with this size needle
Okay.
that we use.
What size do you guys use?
He's
So-
a paramedic, but he likes
Oh.
he likes to ask.
So it's a 17 gauge.
Okay.
Oh, that's
2E needle.
Okay.
Spinal needles are probably like 1/50th the size,
Uh-huh.
to be honest. So the intention with the spinal is, you're going to go straight into the spinal fluid
Yeah.
and, immediately cause a very dense block.
Yeah.
Epidurals aren't like that. They're
Okay.
catching the outer components of the nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the big concern that you always have when you're doing an epidural compared to a spinal is if you do nick that membrane, that outer membrane that surrounds the spinal fluid, and you create a hole in that, then patients can develop what's called posterior puncture, and they're very uncomfortable.
Okay.
What happens is with that little hole that you create, there's a big spinal fluid, and it puts traction and tension on the meninges and on her underside or more into her hand?
She just had a contraction and turned that way.
Okay. Summer, if you're able to kind of chat on something, or, okay, there we go. I just want to make sure we get good spread. That's good.
Okay. So we do want you to try to stay a little bit
More
flatter
centered.
so that your epidural will stay leveled out while it's kind of dispersing itself. I will put this pillow under you to just call it a bump so that baby's not directly on flash because we don't like that. I can sit you up just a little bit while we're letting everything disperse.
So sort of what you probably will notice at first is your toes and your feet, your legs will start to get warm and tingly, and that's going to kind of work in a wave working up to your belly. Now the epidural, as you remember, doesn't turn off the contractions like a light switch. They're not instantly gone, but each contraction now going forward should get less intense and just shorter and shorter until in the next 5 minutes or so they're gone. Okay.
So is that the medication there?
Yep, so this is, exactly, so
Yeah.
this is the local anesthetic, bupivacaine,
Okay.
mixed with a small amount of fentanyl, which
Yeah,
is a nice
yeah.
adjunct for pain control. Now, both of these have no direct impact on the baby. They're specifically designed, being in the epidural space, just to help mom.
Oh, yeah.
Give her pain relief. I've got to go a
And
little on
that's
the
just-
slower side. I'd love to blast all that medicine in.
No worries.
But it can drop your blood pressure. And since your baby's dependent on your blood pressure, I don't, we got to be cautious and
No worries.
conservative in how we're doing
It's
that.
already
So,
so much better than it was.
is it you already started to notice?
Yeah, no, I was in tears earlier.
Okay, you looked amazing when I came in, so. I don't think
Now, I do feel it more in my left leg or right leg.
Right, so, interesting. So, I mean, we're talking like millimeters. When you said I was on the right, and then I moved it just millimeters, and then said I was on the left, I'm like, gosh, there's nowhere really to go, because
Yeah.
so I went more of what I thought was center again, and you still have more on the right. So, my assumption was that it was going to set up quicker on the right than it was on the left.
Yeah.
So when you're asking her, like, do you feel it on the right or the left? Is that the right and left nerve?
No, not
Or is
necessarily.
it-
It's just positioning of the needle to help
Oh.
make sure that I try to get it as center line as possible.
Okay,
That's
all right.
all. And patients, believe it or not, are really the best guide in helping with anatomic
Okay.
identification.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thin and you can feel your vertebrae real easily. It definitely really comes in handy in patients that are a little larger and you can't really feel the anatomy
Yeah.
very well. So
Okay.
they're really instrumental in kind of helping guide the location of where the needle needs to be.
Okay.
Pressure's good? No? Pressure?
Yeah. Last
And
one.
we're going to be checking your pressure every 3 minutes now for the next 30 minutes.
120 over 72.
Did that last one time out?
For some reason, just like, it's gonna cycle over.
Yeah.
Now those paresthesias or the zingers, those are all gone though, right?
Oh,
You can
yeah.
wiggle your toes. Good. You can feel me touching you.
Yeah.
You can lift your knees up.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it just feels lightly numb, so like I can.
Yeah,
It-
this
it
isn't going to be
takes the
too
edge off.
intense. Yeah, yeah. You haven't experienced a spinal, but spinals, just mention your husband, I mean, your legs, it knocks out motor and sensory. And so, I mean, your legs get really heavy and then to the point you just can't move them. So with the epidural, the solution that we use, your legs might feel warm and tingly and a little on the heavy side, but you can still move them around just fine.
Yeah.
We don't let you get up and use the restroom because you're still kind of a fall risk, and that's why Jennifer, if she hasn't already, will put a Foley catheter in you. But you know, it's very different in terms of the experience of spinal versus an epidural. We signed for anesthesia. I went through the risk and I explained everything to you. I just have to make sure. Okay. All right. Has she had a contraction?
Uh-huh.
That was the one a couple minutes ago.
That's okay.
Better?
Yeah,
Better?
a lot better. I heard her just huff at the very top of it.
What's that?
At the
Oh.
very top of it, she breathed.
Okay. Well, if your water had broke, we never would have met. So, you know, this gives you a little bit of time for us to catch up and get you comfortable before it's pushing time.
Thank you.
What was your last baby? What's your youngest?
2019.
2019, so 2 years ago. So you should go pretty quick.
Drop the forward portion of the back. What's this baby's name?
We gotta see him first.
Yeah, gotcha. This shape underneath your bottom here. There we go. Here. Oh, it's always big before. And then always. A little bit more pressure here. Let's just already have to take it. Perfect. Okay. You were getting the other one. Can you feel your contractions at all at this point? Just a little bit. Okay. So when we have that next contraction, we'll
Am I getting another one?
Ready? All right. So I'm gonna have you grab behind your knees. You're gonna pull those legs up towards you.
Just crawl around that baby and then push.
There you go. That's right. Good job. Good job.
It hurts. I know.
Sorry.
Pull your knees
Go
back.
back. Making
Tuck your chin
great,
to your
great
chest.
effort. Good.
Push,
Good job.
push.
6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great job. Take breath in. Let's do that again.
Right. Pull your knees back. Tuck your chin to your chest and hold that breath inside you. Push.
There you go. That's it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. You got one more?
No. Wait. Oh, he hurts. He hurts. Just keep going.
Mama, you tell me what you feel most comfortable with. If you want to take a break for a second, or if you need to push through that, you let me know.
Feels like he has a big head.
Oh. He's right there. I think just a couple more pushes, he might be here. You made some great progress with that. You're doing so good. If you need to take some steps too. No, I Yeah, she moved him a lot with us. So try to open up your hips so we can, I'll help you get through this faster. If you just let us direct you a little bit. Grab behind your knees. When you're ready, you're going to pull back and open up your hips, down to the side. And then you'll pull back, tuck your chin to your chest, curl around your baby. Hold your breath inside you. Push for 10 seconds, 3 times. Okay. You made great progress with that last day. Like 1 or 2 pushes, I bet he'll be here. How old is your oldest? 21. 21. She doesn't look. I know she doesn't. Sorry again. That's it. Push. That's it. 8, 9, 10. Good job. Right back into it. Open up these hips. Pull towards you. That's it. Good job. Perfect. 6, 7, 8. Good job. Yes. Good job. Deep breath in. There you go. That's it. Good job. Good job. Right there. Good job. Good job. 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Do you have another one in you? Yeah? Okay. There you go. That's it. Good job. Good job. That's the list. 6, yes. 7, 8. Okay. Take some good breaths. You do what you need to do. So close. If you're feeling a lot of pressure, you feel that urge to push, you can. Okay. Oh, baby's just coming. There you go. That's it. Good job. Good job. You push as long as you feel like you need to. You take a break when you need to. Doing great. He's right there. Good job, Mama.
From this angle, can you actually tell like his nose is up or down?
I can't. I could try to feel, but I think it'd be too uncomfortable for her. You're doing so well. It's so good. So close. So close.
He's almost there, man.
Yes. Oh, God. Big breath. Big breath. I'm just going to try to help stretch just a little bit here. Oh, good. You're doing so well. So you can take a breath. Break your feet up. You're doing so good. Yes. That's it. Perfect. Good job, Mama. He's almost here. Keep going. Yes, there you go. Almost there. Almost there. Yes, good job. Great, Summer. This is the very last part here. Lots of burning, lots of pressure. Yes, good job. Yes, good job. One more little push. He's almost here. This is the last one. There you go. One little push. That's it. Keep going. That's it. Good job, Mama. Good job. Hey. Another one. All right, Mama. Okay, more tiny push here for the shoulder, okay? There you go. That's it. Perfect. Good job. Oh, God. Look down. Look down. Yay. Great job, Mom. Great. Pretty stiff her when he gets comfortable. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Good job, Grace.
Congratulations! You did awesome! So good! It's a little boy. He's peeing on Mama. Yes! Go backwards. So you're feeling it. Let's just get up and see if you have any cares.
that was quite a quick delivery. We got here about 8:15 and I was 6 centimeters dilated already, and when my husband checked me, he said I was at a 3 at just about 6 o'clock. So everything progressed pretty quickly, and because it was all in the middle of a snowstorm, I didn't know if I was going to end up getting an epidural, but thankfully about 9:45, 9:50, the anesthesiologist was able to come in, and the only reason I was able to get an epidural is because my bag of waters hadn't broken. If it had, then I would have had an all-natural delivery, and even so, the epidural didn't completely take the edge off like it normally does, because I really only had it in my system for less than an hour, I think. But I did learn one new thing with the whole cervical check, as far as having as many children as I've had, is my cervix was extremely soft. So for my nurse to get an adequate gauge as to how dilated I was, she actually had to measure me while I was having a contraction. So she said because my cervix was so soft, she could basically stretch it to anything. And so it was only during the actual contraction that she could feel where I truly was. So, but my husband's holding our little guy right now, and we're gonna go get some rest and just enjoy that I'm no longer pregnant anymore and in pain. So, all right. So my husband just left because we have a two-year-old, and I know my son really loves his routines. We decided that it was going to be best for our 2-year-old to at least have Dad home, keep his routines and everything. So it's about 3:30 right now, so my husband's gone to go pick him up from daycare, and he'll come back tomorrow morning. I feel like I'm such a mess, but I'm so happy. We didn't know if this day would even happen, and I think I was in denial for like the longest time. But this is our little guy, and he's just so happy and content, and he's only 2.5 ounces smaller than his older brother. So it's funny, it feels like everything we were worried about we shouldn't have really worried about, because we even had the doctor check my placenta, because you know how the doctors were saying that based on the ultrasounds it looked like it was aging and all that. She said the placenta looked great, and now knowing that he was only 2.5 ounces smaller than his older brother, I'm very grateful. So yeah, he weighed in at 7 pounds 2.5 ounces, and 7 pounds 3 ounces, and he's 20 inches long. His head was 13.5 inches, and his chest was 12.5 inches. So I mean, but he's healthy. He's already latched on. We did skin to skin for like 2 hours, and he's doing great. So I haven't gotten a chance to take a shower yet, and I definitely need to, because immediately after he was born, he peed on me, and then he peed on me again, and we did, like I said, we did 2 hours of skin to skin. So I think he's definitely settled in now and just resting. So it's the nighttime now, and little baby is, you know, nursing, and everything's going great. It's just not used to, well, kind of what I'm trying to adjust to is I really don't like letting him cry, and so when I put him down to use the bathroom or anything, I know he's gonna cry. So if my husband was here, I know that he'd be able to hold the baby while I take a shower or anything, so so I'll figure that out. But good thing is we will be going home tomorrow, so this whole hospital thing won't be very long. Good morning. So it's December 28th at the nurse woke us up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to take vitals and everything on this little guy, and he is doing really well. He didn't lose much weight over the night. He did want to nurse a lot. So when the nurse weighed him today, he was 7 pounds, 0.2 ounces. But, so he didn't really lose much weight, maybe a couple ounces over the night. But I have a feeling it's not going to take long for my milk to come in. Still really tired because all he wants to do is snuggle. And I don't see a problem in letting baby snuggle. I'm not, having gotten through this, 6 times now, I know this time goes by quickly, and the biggest thing to keep from, I don't know, people say that you spoil them. I don't really believe that, and I keep telling the nurses it's like how people have babies now is completely different than 21 years ago when I had my first. I told my 21-year-old when she came by yesterday to look at her new brother and everything, was that back 21 years ago, they didn't teach you about how to pay attention to the cues before crying. So I just waited for my daughter to cry to let me know what she needed, and now they teach you the cues to look out for before baby cries, and saying that baby crying is actually a late cue. So here you can see starting to stir a little bit, but as long as he's warm and clean and fed, he's usually pretty happy. So, and I've had some moments where he started to like open his eyes and look around, and yeah, so I'm just taking it all in.